Chris here. I want to give you quick context on this video. So first of all, on this Monday morning, this is day 2, watering day 2, I woke up to the worst possible news. 12,568 acres of the Garnet Fire, the red dot here on California, had burned. I'm waking up now Monday morning at 5 a.m., something like that, looking at the reports. And this was a explosion in this fire. It had been moving at a pretty steady day-by-day pace of anywhere from, say, 2,000 acres a day to maybe 5,000 acres a day, which is awful. But then all of a sudden it jumps to nearly 13,000 acres on that Sunday. On this day, I do about 850 gallons starting in the morning into the early evening. And while I'm doing that work, the fire authorities are gearing up because of this radical uptick in fire. They're gearing up for extreme catastrophe. I think they had 2 helicopters on the job before the explosion of fire on Sunday. They brought in 4 more, something like this. 2 of those were Army helicopters. Those helicopters were equipped with night vision. They were super heavy. One of them flew over our sites. It was one of the loudest things I've ever heard in my life from the air. They also brought in these things called large air tankers, which are airplanes, not helicopters, that can scoop massive amounts of water out of the nearby lakes to go drop on the fires. All this stuff started coming in on a Monday. They beefed up the workforce fighting the fire from somewhere in the range of 2,000 people on Sunday to, I think, 3,000 by Wednesday, maybe Thursday, just adding hundreds of people per day to try and halt this fire that seemed to be raging. And what the fire behavior analyst said is that the raging fire was because the wood was drier than anything you would find at Home Depot. The fire was burning uphill into this dry wood. The fire was hitting a part of the forest that had already been affected by drought and beetle infestation. And so it was just tender, drier than anything at Home Depot. It took off. What you'll see in this video, though, you're going to see my work and my perspective working on the waterings without knowing any of the details of what's going on with the fire. I have to watch the reports the next day about what it has happened on the day of my watering. So I'm trying to maneuver in real time with what I can observe. And what you'll see is that transpiration haze begins to take over overhead. Starting about 10 a.m. and all the way through the afternoon, we suddenly have moisture-rich air. Then that night, we get the first clouds that we've gotten on the whole project so far. What you won't see is after my waterings finish on this Monday, watering number 2, then the Garnet Fire hits moisture of extinction for the first time that night. Moisture of extinction means that there's enough moisture in the air, humidity is so high that the vegetation, whether it's alive or dead, will absorb that moisture so strongly that the fire can't carry over land. It won't travel. And so we hit this juncture right at the critical moment where they're bringing in all the helicopters and all the big stuff and beefing up the forces. And that moisture of extinction increase reduces probability of ignition. So the last thing I'll say is that on this day, probability of ignition drops to 60%. It had been at 80 to 90% for the entire 2 weeks of the fire before that, according to the fire behavior analyst, Mr. Montoya. Suddenly it drops to 60% after my second watering on the day that they're expecting it to get worse. With all that said, here's the footage from my perspective in real time, just some highlights from day 2, watering number 2 of the attempt to help halt the Garnet Fire. Thanks for watching. Hey, morning. I'm in, I'm outside of Auberry in the mountains above Fresno. We've got beautiful golden light. It's around 7 a.m., I think. We've also got some of the worst air quality in the entirety of North America. You can see this sort of hazy stuff Ours is now a mixture of transpiration and smoke. You can feel that it's moister than it was yesterday. It was real hazy, but no moisture in the air. Today is definitely cooler feeling, even though it's the same temperature, 60 degrees. So anyway, this is just a quick check-in. I'm about to one day get a good haircut and start watering. Won't be hard to find more trees to do today. That big ponderosa was a major focus yesterday. Anyway, here we go. 9:35 a.m. We already got the smoke out of here. The map says we are in very, very unhealthy air, but I can tell you that's not what I'm experiencing. It smells a little bit like a campfire, but there's no visible haze from smoke anywhere on this property. Right, buddy? So, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, the amount of purple on those air maps is awful, and it says we're in very unhealthy air right now, 278 on the meter or something like that. But again, I mean, that is not this place. Might be further around here somewhere, but it is definitely not this property. We are experiencing a beautiful morning with a little tiny bit of haze. Hi there, it's 2:13, and it may not look like it, but we have a little bit of transpiration in front of the sun. See that hazy? That's a good haze. Things are bright green. Yeah, you can see it there. So we're getting the response that we want. And you know, whether or not it scales up is a whole other thing. But that is transpiration in the air, and that is huge, especially for the second day, and it's been there, as I said, since about 10 a.m. It's like, what did I say, 2:15? I'm gonna finish all this up and just keep going. It's going good. All right, hello, it's 8:30 p.m. and just finished the day. Did some wood splitting with Muriel, and we also lost water pressure, so I only got about 850 gallons. That's a glare. 850 gallons out. And the reason I turned on the camera, not just to record things, but we have clouds for the first time, and that's huge. That's game change. You know, there's no clouds in the forecast, but we got them big time. And it's cool, it's moist out here. The air feels more humid, or whatever we call it, when it's cool. And so, I mean, that's amazing. That's the biggest news of the day, is that we have clouds here tonight. The other two things I just want to mention are, we had a spot of rain yesterday towards the fire, and a spot of rain today. And I mean spot, but it's rain, and it's within 30 miles, 20 miles of us. The spot of rain today was north instead of south. So, I mean, that's exciting also. I don't really know where that leads, but it's rain. Oh, and then there's a fourth amazing thing. So California isn't supposed to get rain basically this month, according to the forecasts, just period. Starting with Northern California all the way down to here. And since I started watering yesterday or Sunday, today is just day 2, Monday, I noticed that there was a huge glob of moisture in the Pacific coming towards Northern California, could come towards us, could go towards Oregon, could go to Northern California. Anyway, so it made it inland, and it's gone to, is it Eureka, California or something like that, up near the top. And it's done this beautiful job of splitting and sort of going into Oregon and into California, right over some of the worst fires that are happening in Oregon, it appears. So that should really help dampen down those fires. And, you know, I sure hope we get moist air pervasively across the area tonight, all night, and then starting tomorrow morning, and we'll start to flip things over. So there'll be humid air. The fire reports will start talking about how there's humid air, no fire growth, fire behavior minimal, that kind of stuff. This is my hope for the reporting tomorrow on the Garnet Fire. So anyway, we have to stick with the plan and kind of see where the fire authorities tell us things are tomorrow. It's pretty close. It grew a lot in the last 48 hours. And, you know, it's time for that to stop. So may that please happen. May we put out that fire in the next 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Another good day in strategic watering and rainmaking with trees, and hanging out with my new friend Muriel, and gonna call it a night and get started early tomorrow. All right, thanks.